Stanley, Scuba, Sailing, and Adventures.
Scuba diving, the British Virgin Islands. Dive site, Bronco Billy. This dive site is located off the western shore of George Dog Island. The dive guide lists it as a mostly fringing reef dive site with a maximum depth of 50 feet. It's largely protected from weather patterns to the east with moderate exposure to patterns from the north. Here you can see I'm swimming through one of the larger archways at this dive site. It has a few of these arches, several canyons and ridges, and when there's a little bit of surge as you're swimming through these, it kind of gives you the feel that maybe you're riding a Bronco. That's how this dive site got its name. At least that's my understanding. We did have a little bit of surge and it was quite fun. As far as the dive briefing, from the mooring line, you descend in about 30 feet of water to a coral-covered bottom. From here, we followed a compass course toward the tip of George Dog Island. About 100 feet from the mooring line, there's a large stand of pillar coral. After that, you continue for another 50 feet, and then you come to that first arch, the one I just showed. After going through the arch and following the canyon, you turn right at the end and follow the boulders that make up the shoreline of the island. Eventually, a short dead-end canyon is followed by a larger one, and the large one has softball-sized rocks on the bottom. After that, we turned around and followed the side canyon to the right, and at the end of that canyon, we found a boulder field and then headed left on a bearing of about 240 degrees. After about another 100 feet or so, we reached the entrance to the last canyon. It was a swim through under a narrow arch and then out back toward the mooring. This is day 5 of diving for me on this trip and dive number 17. The second dive of the day and started at approximately 10:40 in the morning. This video was recorded over the course of that single tank dive. The dive lasted approximately 45 minutes. My dive computer recorded a maximum depth of 45 feet and an average depth of 26 feet. The water temperature averaged a warm 86 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, the sun was out and really helped with the visibility. The conditions for photography were not spectacular. You can see there's quite a bit of particulate in the water. I really enjoyed this dive site. The geologic formations were very interesting, the arches and canyons. And like I mentioned earlier, we did have some surge, so it was a lot of fun. It was very interesting to swim through, and absolutely can see how they came up with the name. As far as putting a number on the visibility, I'm going to call this one maybe 70 feet, 80 feet, 75. We'll call it 75 feet. In regard to marine life, there weren't a lot of fish, I guess, compared to some of the other sites. But there were a variety of smaller fish. Here's a nurse shark. And actually, interestingly enough, in the dive guide, they do mention the possibility of seeing nurse sharks here. So they did deliver on that. Again, here you can see the flash. I'm trying to take some pictures, but there's really just too much particulate in the water to get anything worthwhile. Lots of little fish here too. I don't know if you can see those kind of mixed in with the particulate around the nurse shark. I took a lot more photos than normal on this particular trip, and actually I'm still sorting through a lot of those and trying to find what's worthwhile. Um, Anything that's decent, I usually put on Facebook. So if you want to see the pictures, you can head over to my Facebook page, which is simply StanleyScuba, and take a look there. I'm not sure what this nurse shark was up to or thinking. Obviously, I'm not a fish, but eventually here he does turn and look at me. I don't know if it was the flash or what it was that got his attention, but he did turn and I got a little bit of a face shot. So I think I got one or two photographs out of this little encounter that were actually okay. But again, the particulate made it difficult to get anything really wonderful out of it. But any dive is a good dive, right? I enjoy my time underwater, so please don't take my comments as negative. I'm always happy to be in the water, happy to be diving, no matter what the conditions. Here you can see I found several lobster, and actually it mentioned this dive site having a lot of lobster in the dive guide as well. The dive guide I've referenced several times is called The Guide to Diving and Snorkeling in the British Virgin Islands. It's the second edition. It's a great book. It's got drawings of the dive sites, descriptions, dive briefings are written out, and it goes on to describe the things you might see at the dive sites. It's really a great guide. I wish there was one of these for every location I go to in the Caribbean. It's really done well. I don't think I've seen this many lobsters anywhere else in the Caribbean. They were just everywhere. I mean, look at these here. There are 3, 4, 5 in this cluster. You see there's one upside down to the left, and then there are 3 obviously right in front. There's another one moving off to the right there. You can see the antenna from another hanging upside down over to the far right. They were just everywhere. There's a whole bunch here as well. Another great dive site, another great day diving. The lobsters here even come out and move around during the day, which is interesting as well, right? Because normally they're more nocturnal. They don't typically come out of their hole, but it wasn't uncommon for me to see them out just kind of walking around on the reef. Here they're kind of close to the shelf and have some protection, but there's so many of them. They're out walking around. Really, really interesting. Final thoughts on this dive site. I really enjoyed it. Would love to come back here and dive it again. I hope you enjoyed the video and would definitely appreciate some feedback or comments. Let me know what you're thinking.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.